Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us out for another week. Always appreciate the support from you guys. If you guys like the Tobin and Leroy show, Silly Sauce Galore on a new time slot, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you guys can catch us over at WQAM's YouTube page. Your boy here pretty much moderates that whole thing. So the same content that you enjoyed on this page, you will get over there. I'm editing that stuff pretty much on a daily basis unless some conflicts arise. Will be a busy week. I am excited, though, dude. It is a busy week because it is sweet Miami Heat season. Goosies. Honestly, it's Goosies galore, dude. It's Goosies on Goosies galore because your boys are back. I am excited for basketball season to get going. I am excited to be I'm getting my boots all polished up for Wednesday night when the Chicago Bulls roll into town and then the Celtics come into town. It is a great way to open up the season. Miami Heat opened it up with 4 games at home. You got Bulls, Celtics, and a couple against the Raptors. So big challenges ahead. I think this is a really, really fun Eastern Conference, and a lot of people already kind of looking at the Heat as, they got to take the regular season easy. One, I don't think that's the case. Are they going to, finish further back? It's possible they finish further back than last year just because this is a tougher conference. I'll give you that. But the idea that I think the Heat are going to go la, 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 I don't know why I went loving an elevator there, but why they're going to go, easy breezy through the season. I don't think that's going to be the case. I just think that there's going to be, the team plays too hard. You see how they are in the preseason. They just don't have that in them. So the idea that they're going to go through this thing, just tiptoeing through the tulips, I think is not the case. So I'm excited to check it on out. But, this past weekend, it was interesting hearing Tyler Herro. I was reading the story in the Miami Herald, Anthony Chang doing a really good interview with him. And Tyler Herro said something to the effect of, on the way it ended last year and some of his motivation that he was going into, he said, quote, "It was tough the way that it ended. I felt that if I was at the level of play I was all season last year, we might have a 4th championship, and that motivated me." Which, is the interesting dynamic to this whole team, running it back, which they are with the roster minus PJ Tucker. But the interesting thing about last year's playoffs is it was really, for the most part, a 2-man show. It was really Jimmy and Bam who you could rely on in each series. And I don't even think Bam really hit quite the surface offensively of what he could do in a playoff series. And I know people, kind of roll their eyes. Oh, we've heard that one before. But I truly believe that, you're already seeing hints of the aggression so far in the preseason. And I think you'll see that translate over to the regular season. The thing that I've loved seeing from Bam early on has been that just motivation to go towards the basket, to be more decisive, to really impose his will on teams trying to guard him. And can they do it cleanly? And I don't think that they can. And I think that is something that's going to translate very much from regular season and can to the postseason if he keeps that up. He's obviously got to make his free throws and continue to improve in that area. But that, to me, is a translatable weapon when it comes to the preseason. We saw this was an excellent 3-point shooting team last year. And it did not translate to the playoffs. Whether it be Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, or Tyler Herro, those 3 guys fell off a cliff when it came to their downtown shooting. And I think that Tyler Herro being added to the starting lineup, likely, I think that, first of all, he's going to be a really good fit there. There were some questions about that after the last preseason game. Oh, could Tyler Herro, does he have the shooting to add to that element? I'm like, what? Who the hell's questioning Tyler Herro's shooting ability? The kid is a absolute sniper. And I think that, there's been some calls from pundits for him to embrace more of his shooting ability, more so than, him taking people off one-on-one. And I think that his ability to shoot and his ability now that he is locked up and has a contract, I think maybe won't be going and looking for things in that regard. There was some talk of, front office people thinking, would Tyler Herro be looking for his own numbers? I don't think that would have been the case, but even if that is the case, not an issue now. The guy is committed to, he is locked up, and I think that he fits like a glove with that starting unit. I really do. With Max Strus and Duncan Robinson figuring out what their roles are going to be on the bench, probably next to Victor Oladipo and figuring those guys out. I think that could be really dynamic too as a second unit. But Tyler, I don't think there's going to be this crazy dramatic thing to the starting lineup. One, he closes a lot of games in the regular season. Two, he's a really good shooter. And I think you need that spacer out there. That's always definitely been a thing with Jimmy and Bam because they are your two best players and they're not natural three-point shooters. Could we see a little bit more of it back this year with Jimmy Butler? Who knows? You never know with him. He's a Rubik's Cube, and he's going to kind of march to his own beat. Bam, he's just introducing that. And while I am excited to see what Bam does from downtown, I don't think it's the most critical element that he could add to his game. So definitely think that Tyler Herro being in that starting lineup fit-wise is going to be important and is going to be something that will work. I think it can work. The other thing that's interesting about it is, man, he has talked about the disrespect that he's gotten on defense. I think that, the people are definitely going to attack him. That's always going to be a thing. And I think the thing for Tyler is when you're in a lineup, this was especially the case last year, when you're in lineups with Bam, with Jimmy, a PJ Tucker, a Caleb Martin, a Victor Oladipo, even a Kyle Lowry, who is maybe not the same as staying in front of guys, but is very crafty and some may say is very, what's the word I'm looking for here with Kyle? Can throw referees off with his veteran tricks, but deceptive, I think, is the way I was looking. I think that was probably the term I was looking for, which, by the way, I gotta say, last preseason game, it was fun watching Kyle Lowry. I never noticed. You usually see him negotiating, but I love the fact there was one play where Kyle Lowry got a foul called on him, and they weren't showing it on the Jumbotron, and the fact that he walked right back to the bench, it was a mean nothing anything, but he walked right back to the bench to the guys who have the video review tablets so he could see, so he could have his evidence to go argue with the referees. That's a good lawyer. I mean, that's a guy who gathers the evidence for himself to figure out what he has to say. But, that being said, getting back to Tyler's defense, came out of that thing and had 4 blocks in his last preseason game. Maybe it's an aberration. Maybe it's a fluke. I don't know, but it would have been a career high should that game have counted. He's done 3 twice, but did not do it last year. Last year's his game high was 1 block. Has shown a propensity to show some instincts and some good hands and some ability to gamble a little bit. And I think that if he could just up the tick there a little bit, that people have to be a little bit more aware that, hey, this guy is not just going to let you do whatever you want on defense, because the natural is that he's going to get, people are going to hunt him on switches. People are going to look for him because you don't want to go with the other guys and try and score on this Heat team. No, I mean, he's always going to be looked upon as that weak link. So it is a big challenge upon him at 22, turning 23 years old, to get back to the spot where, people aren't just going to bully him no matter what, whether it's bully him with the ball or whether it's bully him on defense. Tyler also said to Anthony Chang, he says, quote, "I think I was picking up my dribble a lot in the playoffs. When guys were doubling me, I would pick it up, and I wasn't aggressive as I was throughout the season. I think you saw that, which affected my play a little bit with the team too. If I was healthy and playing at the level I was, I think we had a really good chance." And Tyler mentioned this in our interview with him at Media Day, that he thought a lot of it was mental.
Yeah, I mean, I had my groin injury. That was one thing, but that happened later in the playoffs. I still wasn't playing well, at the beginning of the playoffs. I think part of it had to do with finding out I'm having another kid. That was a lot mentally. It was just the timing of it. But it is what it is, and, I'm back ready to hoop. And, obviously the playoffs didn't go the way that, I wanted it to, but, it's another year and another crack at it.
Do you was it a noticing of like game plan of guys, like when you took stock on it over the summer, like what did you think it was that led to those struggles?
I think it was more myself than the guys guarding me. The same dudes have been guarding me all year. Right. Nothing really had changed besides mentally. It was all mental. Anytime I'm struggling, I think it is all mental for me. So, like I said, I'm back. I'm ready to hoop. Another crack at it, and keep getting better.
Because that's like your superpower, like your confidence. We saw that come into the league. Like you ooze that. So does it mess with you even more if you feel like, I don't feel as, like, I don't want to say you weren't confident, but like, was that a thing? Like you didn't feel like I can't be stopped because you've had that, come into the league.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone knows when I have like my little pep in my step, I think that's when I'm playing at my best, and that's when I'm most confident. there was something about the playoffs. I didn't have much rhythm. I didn't have much bounce to my step. It was just, I don't know. I was in the mud.
One of the things that I've always marveled at with him is this kid walked into the league, as John Calipari said, with giant elephant balls and just had so much confidence. You could just see it ooze off him in the court. And for him not to have that element of his game is a huge deal. And I think if that element comes back, if you see the Tyler Herro that was snarling in the bubble and all of that guy, the guy who was sixth man of the year last year, but played just as many minutes as anybody on the team, took as many shots as anybody on the team, was nearly the leading scorer on the team. If you have that guy and you can translate play, that is the Donovan Mitchell type. That is the next scorer type that you would be adding to this squad. I think that is, and I think that's probably why maybe the Heat didn't go after Donovan Mitchell as hard as people probably thought that they should have, because I think they still believe in Tyler's development as being that sidekick. And I think that one of the things that I love seeing this past weekend was him and Jimmy Butler flying off to some little mini vacation while there was a little mini break between the practices and the preseason. I think the fact that Jimmy is putting his arms around this idea that he sees, he was asked about who's the best newcomer to camp, and Jimmy Butler said Tyler Herro, that he's come back a completely new man. And you remember Jimmy Butler really embracing Tyler as soon as he got into the league. They were doing workouts together. Did Tyler Tuesday, always talking Tyler Herro up. And I think the fact that he is kind of reinvigorating that, almost like a political endorsement, if you will. We are in political season. The Jimmy Butler party is endorsing Boy Wonder for starter and for sidekick. I think it's a huge deal. I think it's important to almost in the way that, like, if I could relate it to football, we see how like Mike McDaniel has really been putting his arms around Tua and embracing everything about him. We saw in the first 3 games what an effect that had for Tunga Vailoa. I think that it's important for, as confident as Tyler Herro is, to have the stamp of approval from his running mate, from Jimmy Butler, because I think the thought is that Jimmy, people are upset. Oh, Pat failed Jimmy. He did not get him his Orca. He did not get him his sidekick. And for Tyler to have that support from Jimmy, Jimmy's always going to support his guys. Jimmy, you'll hear him in, post game. I don't know what's said behind closed doors, but what he says to microphones is, no matter who's out there, he always has belief in his teammates. And I think that having that with Tyler Herro and stoking the flames of that, taking him on a little vacation, doing the Tyler Tuesdays, all that stuff, I think helps. Especially in the start of a long regular season. Now, look, for Tyler, this is the long and short of it. We're going to see, it's important to see how the player improves, but we've already seen him have excellent regular seasons. We've seen him have, a near all-star season last year. Probably should have been an all-star last year. But it does come down to what he can do in the playoffs. But that's a long way away. So now it's time to kind of kick back, enjoy, and see what the journey is for him as far as the improvement is concerned for this year and what he can turn into. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see. I mean, Bleacher Report, they just did their top 100 list, and I think Tyler Herro was ranked. And this is where they think they're going to finish by the end of the year. I think Tyler Herro was somewhere in the 70s. And Kyle Lowry was 75. And Tyler, I think, was, where the hell is Tyler? He was a little higher than I thought he was. Tyler Herro. Tyler was 62, which was a lot higher than he was on ESPN. They have him around the likes of above OG Anunoby, below Jalen Brunson, one spot below Jalen Brunson, 2 spots below John Collins, RJ Barrett, Mikal Bridges, Tyrese Maxey, Jordan Poole, which are guys that he's always compared to. And I think it's definitely possible for Tyler, Desmond Bane. I think it's possible for Tyler Herro to be in this group and by the end of the year, to really maybe like turn himself into a top 50 player by year's end. I mean, some of these players, Domantas Sabonis, what the hell has he done? Ben Simmons doesn't play basketball. Somehow he's in the top 50 for these leagues and these rankings and whatever. De'Aaron Fox never played meaningful basketball in his life. But neither here nor there. I will, as much as some of these guys are ballers, good for them, but, playing guys. for me, if he can really solidify in everybody's mind that he is in that, top 50, 40 to 50 threshold, then I think you got yourself a real monster going into this season. So interesting to hear, the expectations of himself and what he has got cooking for this upcoming season. I'm excited to see it, and it honestly can lead to a lot for this Heat team.